Hello, lover of all things wedding related, and welcome to the Wedding Wisdom Podcast with your hosts, Tanya Hoops and Morgan Powell.
How are you doing, Tanya?
I'm great. How are you, Morgan?
I'm doing so good.
Great. So today, should we talk about a destination?
I think we should.
How about we talk about Jamaica?
Yes, please. It's like blustery and cold
Yes.
and sounds like a great day to talk about a Caribbean island.
Yes, I think so too, because it's kind of one of those it's not the first day of fall, but it kind of feels like the first day of fall. It's rainy and it's cold. And so no matter where you are in the world, it might not be the case for you. But for us today, it's cold and rainy. So it's a good day to talk about going someplace warm and with the ocean,
Yes.
flowing.
And some fruity drinks.
Yes, some fruity drinks, which, we don't like any of those.
Wink,
Not
wink.
true. Anyway, so moving on, let's talk about Jamaica. So last year, you and I had the pleasure of doing a wedding together in Jamaica.
We sure did.
Yeah, at the Hyatt Ziva. And it was great.
It was beautiful. It was everything I could have dreamed of. Years ago, I think when we first met, I probably pitched to you that one of my dreams in photography was to do more destination.
Yeah.
And so when this opportunity presented itself, I was like, yes, say less. Where do I sign on the
We're
dotted
in.
line?
Yep.
We're in.
Yep. So let's talk about the Hyatt Ziva though, because let's talk about this great destination for a wedding.
Yeah.
So the Hyatt Ziva in Jamaica, Montego Bay, is an all-inclusive resort. So
Yeah.
I think most people know what an all-inclusive resort is, but let's talk a little bit about that because I think there are some differences between some all-inclusives, right?
Right.
So the Hyatt Ziva, of course, your room price includes your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and your drinks. Now, they do have like specialty bottles of wine and they have upgraded dinners like a beachside private dinner, which,
Right.
I believe you and your husband had.
Yes, we did. It was beautiful. It was so delicious too. Like the
Yeah.
food was impeccable. We
Yeah.
still talk about it. We still talk about that dinner.
Yeah, that was fun. I think I was up in my room while you were doing that, but that's all good. That's all good. Because we each have our things we like to do.
Yep.
Yeah. So and they have some all inclusive includes all of those things, and then they have 2 pools on site. Now the pools are at the Ziva. You've got a really nice, big, wonderful pool, and that is a family friendly pool. And at the Zilara, which is next door, the Hyatt Zilara, it is an adult only, so 18-year and older. And there is kind of like a invisible bridge, if you will, or invisible like arch
Barrier.
you go underneath to
Yeah.
go back and forth. But there's a security guard there that makes sure that anyone under 18 doesn't go through. But if you're at the Ziva, you can actually play at both pools.
Yes, as long as you're over 18.
Yes, as long as you're over 18. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yep. Beautiful beach side and lots of beach side. So you've got beach on both properties, just beautiful white sands, which Jamaica is known for their white sands.
And the water was so beautiful as well
And warm.
and warm.
Yes.
So warm.
So yes, it is fall. We're talking about warmth today.
Well, I will say, like, we went in February.
Yes.
So where we are, it was snowing and cold and the perfect getaway. Definitely had to layer on that sunblock.
Yes.
Because we were used to being all bundled up, and there were parts of my arms and legs that hadn't seen the sun in a few months.
Yes.
So
So you have to make sure you know that. Bring lots of sunblock when you go.
Yes.
But let's talk about wedding venues.
okay.
So the wedding venues, there's several different great wedding venues. So you can get married on the beach.
Yeah.
And with the beach, you really can do anything. You can have an arch, you can have flowers, you can just have the ocean in front of you. So an absolutely beautiful area. And that area can hold quite a few people. Then you have the pavilion. And the pavilion is a really stunning spot. Like you go walk out onto a boardwalk, into the pavilion, into the beach, in the beach, to the sea. There it is right in front of you, right? The
Yeah.
ocean. But that is, you can't have 100 people. You can't even have 20 people there. It's a, less spot for having your
It's a more
guests.
intimate,
Yes, more intimate,
intimate ceremony location.
but an absolutely beautiful spot. And then right off of there to back by the sand, there is a boardwalk / pavilion. And on that area, you can do a dinner for up to 80 people. So it's absolutely a gorgeous, stunning area. So much just so many places. Then they also have the ballroom. So inside, of course, because one thing that I always recommend as a planner is that you always have a backup. Always have a backup because you just never know what's going to happen. And you can plan for a year. You can do everything you can to have it be perfect. And then, we unfortunately cannot control the rain.
Unfortunately.
Even though we would like to.
We try.
We try.
We try really hard.
And at this particular wedding, we couldn't control the rain. So we did have rain come in, and we decided to move it up to a balcony, which is another area. So the balcony has an overhang. You still see kind of the ocean views off in the background. So still a beautiful ambiance, and it's private there. So that was a nice thing. It's very private. The pavilion oceanfront, of course, people can walk by and see like what's going on. But it's a really spectacular property to have a wedding at.
It really was so beautiful. And a couple of the things that I loved from a photography standpoint, there were so many locations to take pictures. We didn't get even close to hitting all of them. But it lent itself to kind of that Caribbean colonial view. And so you had these really beautiful ocean views with palm trees and very, very island feeling. And then you would walk just a few feet up towards the actual property and the hotel. And the architecture was so like colonial, Caribbean, very pretty, white, gorgeous columns, all of that kind of stuff. I loved when going through their pictures, since we did move up onto that veranda for the reception. They had such an array of looks for their wedding, because we had the beach and we had some cute little tucked away areas and some gardens with the beautiful florals, and then the veranda with the architecture. And it just really lent itself for a lot of diversity in terms of their story, their photo story.
Yep, which is so important. And those aren't only spaces. There's also what they call the wedding venue, and it actually sits about 4 floors up, and it's a long area, and then you really do feel like you're out in the ocean.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a beautiful area, and for obvious reasons, we decided to be on the ocean front for this one. But it was it's just a beautiful location. You're right. The photography is absolutely beautiful. And, in the moment, we actually had some very fun moments along the way. So we were driving the bride and groom in the golf cart, which the resort had provided. And we were doing photos before the ceremony. They'd done their first look and photos. And there were coconuts with maybe a little extra inside the coconut water. But there were coconuts. I was like, oh my gosh, Morgan, what a great picture. Like, let's get that. And so we have a picture in front of like a palm tree, and like there's a Jamaica sign in the background. And so just a fabulous location to be able to like do some spontaneous items too.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, like, fun little tidbit, something to think about, are how much you want to incorporate that, because we could have just stayed with the beach and stuff like that, but they were getting married in Jamaica, and it's very traditional. I mean, when you think about Jamaica, you think about coconuts, like whole coconuts, and being able to drink out of them and some of that kind of stuff. And so adding those into the pictures really just kind of helped flesh out their story, and made for really fun, cute moments that weren't so staged.
Yeah. It's not a normal photo moment, right?
Yeah.
It just brings the ambiance of the area.
Yeah.
Great. So here's the thing. If you want to book a wedding at the Hyatt Ziva, how much do you think the price would start at? You've got this beautiful location. You've got a waterfront. You have things included such as your dinner, a few flowers. You usually have to, if you want lots of flowers, then that's an add-on,
an additional upgrade. Yeah. I think probably wedding packages, I would say.
I'm putting Morgan on the spot.
She
here.
is. I'm sorry. I'm
the planner. She's the photographer.
I was like, I'm trying to do some math in my head here.
Yep.
So like, I'm going to say, without considering like photography, video, any kind of those outside vendors, just what you're getting with the venue, I would say they probably start between $40,000 and $60,000 for a wedding.
So it's so much lower than that. So here's the thing. If you want a destination wedding now, you can't include travel in this, because travel is a separate, your room cost is separate. But a lot of times their guests pay for their rooms, right?
Yeah.
And the nice thing about an all-inclusive is then your guests don't have to worry about what restaurants they're going to, or what, how much extra food is going to be. They know out the door, here's my hotel, and here's my food price, and here's my drink price as well, which we all know can add up very quickly. So you can actually do a wedding at the Ziva for starting at about $4,000. And then, yes, I know. And so
there's no place in the States that starts that.
I mean, maybe you can rent a venue for that amount of money.
I was going to say, maybe just the venue, no food, no anything, no florals, nothing else. But
So definitely it is a great location to do a wedding. Now, of course, that's the basic starting package price, and you could go way up from there. So you could get into the, $20, $30, $40,000 range. But still, when you think about how much a wedding, the average wedding in the United States costs, that is a really, really good price point. And so it's something to definitely consider. And here's the thing. I think sometimes people get really nervous about contracts with all-inclusive resorts. And I understand that because there are clauses about how many rooms you have to pick up and that you have to pay for those if you don't pick them up. And the rooms are booked separately from the wedding package, and guests need to be staying there versus how many aren't staying there. And so here's where a great company such as Destination Inspiration can help you to be able to book that wedding. And they do that at a very, very, very minimal cost, sometimes even free, depending on what it looks like for their agency. And so they can review all those contracts, they can walk you through it, and then they pass you off to the coordinator on site, or you can hire a planner, of course, and we are happy to come to Jamaica and help you with your wedding. But it's very, very reasonable. And so we love venues all over the world, right? We love wedding venues in the United States, Italy, Greece, Jamaica, but this one is just very cost effective for a couple to be able to have a wedding. And I think really when you're doing a destination wedding in a location like Jamaica, I find that the most important thing for those couples are being together with their friends and family. That's what it's about. It's not about the flowers. I mean, flowers are important, but it's not about having the overtop flowers and having, as many guests as you can possibly get. It's about your close friends, your intimate friends and family being there.
I love that. And I will say, Hyatt Ziva was fantastic. It was close to the airport.
Yes.
Transportation to and from the airport was so easy. I mean, as a vendor, as a photographer, I get to be a part of a few more of the things. I know we had done an excursion and stuff like that. That was a little bit extra, but it was really convenient. Yeah. That property in particular was super convenient to work with, and the staff was amazing, and the property was a well done and well kept up property. Yeah. So for that price point, I mean, I think everybody should start looking at Jamaica to get married.
To get married. Yes. Now, with that all being said, we have a really big announcement, and you might have already seen it on the social sites because, things don't always come out at exactly the same time. However, we are giving away a wedding in Jamaica.
Yay. We loved it so much. We're going back.
Yes, we're going back, and it's going to be in May and on a particular date in May, but you can actually go to Destination Inspiration and find all of the information on what it's like to apply to be the couple, to be a part of the wedding. It will give you all the details and all the stipulations and all the rules. And we're not doing Hyatt Ziva. We're actually doing Grand Jewel, which is literally next door. It's really very, very close to the Hyatt Ziva. So you've got all those things like you're close to the hotel. You've got great rooms. You've got, again, it's an all-inclusive. And so it's a really great property. I've actually walked the property and toured the property. So very excited. I am in love with the ceremony space. The ceremony is going to be on what they call the boardwalk. And it is just literally you feel like you are right on the ocean front. And so very, very excited for this. So go to destinationinspiration.com and you will be able to find the information on the upcoming event and how to register and try to become the couple that wins the event. And all the details are there. So we'll talk more about that in the future, but we're really excited.
Yes, we can't wait. Maybe we get to work on your wedding.
Yep. So May of 2026 will be the wedding date. And so definitely go and look at that. And if you are in the mode to be married very soon, then this might be for you.
Yes. We can't wait.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much. Yep. And hopefully we see you next week.
Yep. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Wedding Wisdom Podcast with your hosts, Tanya Hoops and Morgan Powell. To keep up to date with the latest episodes, like, subscribe, and follow at Wedding Wisdom Blog on all social media platforms. To submit content, please email weddingwisdomblog@gmail.com.